Hello, I am Mr. Mendoza, a second grade teacher at Webb Du Bois Charter Academy in Fresno with Agape Schools. And in this reading, I will actually read the story of Two of Everything, the actual story. It's a folk tale. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoy it and have fun with it. And that's the most important thing with these stories, to have fun with them and to learn from them from other cultures. Two of Everything is a folk tale. A folk tale is a story that is often told by people of a country. As you read, look for the simple plot that teaches a lesson. What happens in the story that teaches a lesson? And events that could not happen in real life. The author is Lily Toy Hong. Lily Toy Hong enjoys camping, getting together with a large family and eating Chinese food. She also loves learning about her parents' native country, China, and its many legends and folk tales. Oh, this is a Chinese folk tale. I bet it is. China and explore the land of. One day I would love to visit China and explore the land of my forefathers, she says, and maybe discover more folk tales. Ooh, we're going to read about a Chinese folk tale. Two of Everything. This is written by Lily Toy Hong. Did she actually imagine this one, or perhaps did her great grandparents, or maybe her great great grandparents, maybe even her parents, told her this story and she decided, ooh, that's a really interesting story. I think I'm going to write about it. Maybe she did. Some things to consider here is what good things happen when people work together. People working together makes for magic to happen here. And we'll see what happens in this story. Once long ago, in a humble little hut, lived Mr. Haktaks and his wife, Mrs. Haktaks. They were old and very poor. What little they ate came from their tiny garden. They live out in the country, in a village, I guess, but they're poor. They can't buy anything. Whatever they ate comes from a garden. In a lucky year, when the harvest was plentiful, Mr. Haktaks had a little extra to take to the village. There he traded turnips, potatoes, and other vegetables for clothing, lamp oil, and fresh seeds. Hey, they were bartering. Bartering is a term that you use when you give something and someone else gives you something in return. But that's the only way that he was able to get that, is by selling what he grew on his farm. That's poor. One spring, when Mr. Haktaks was digging in his garden, his shovel struck something hard. Puzzled, he dug deeper into the dark ground until he came upon an ancient pot made of brass. What kind of a pot did he have? What kind of a pot did he find? A pot made of brass. And it was where? Was it hiding somewhere in a cave? No, it was underground. How odd, said Mr. Haktaks to himself, to think that I have been digging here all these years and never came upon this pot before. I will take it home. Maybe Mrs. Haktaks can find some use for it. The pot was big and heavy for old Mr. Haktaks. As he stumbled along, his purse, which contained his last 5 gold coins, fell to the ground. He tossed it into the pot for safekeeping and staggered home. Why didn't he just take the bag and put it in his pocket? I guess because he was carrying that big old pot on his back. Couldn't do it anymore. His wife greeted him at the door. Dear husband, what a strange pot. Mr. Haktaks explained how he found the pot. I wonder what we can do with it, said Mrs. Haktaks. Oops. It looks too large to cook in and too small to bathe in. They can't cook in it or bathe in it. What are they going to do with it? As Mrs. Haktaks leaned over to peer into the pot, her hairpin, the only one she owned, fell in. Hold on, what else is in the pot? Isn't that bag of coins in the pot? Why hasn't Mr. Haktaks taken that out? And what did she do before that? What was she doing? Oh, she was being nosy. She wanted to see what was in it, so she peered into it. But then her hairpins fell out, her only hairpins. She felt around in the pot, and suddenly her eyes grew round with surprise. Look, she shouted, I've pulled out 2 hairpins, exactly alike, and 2 purses too. Hold on. Oh, she only tossed one in there. There was only one purse. What's going on with this pot? What's happening? Sure enough, the purses were identical, and so were the hairpins. Inside each purse were 5 gold coins. Now, how many gold coins would they have if they had two purses with 5 gold coins each? They have 10 gold coins. They're richer now. Uh-oh. What would you do if you found out that this pot can do something crazy magical like this? What would you do? What are they going to do? Let's read to find out. Mr. Hacktack was so excited, he jumped up and down. Let's put my winter coat inside the pot. If we are lucky again, the pot will make 2 coats. Oh, they understand. And then they will both stay warm. Well, they only have 1 coat. I wonder, will this magic pot work for them again? So into the pot went 1 coat, and out came 2 coats. Ah, they got it. They began to search the house and quickly put more things into the magical pot. If only we had some meat, wished Mr. Hacktack, or fresh fruit, or one delicious sweet cake. They're understanding it. But now they want more. Uh-oh. Is that good for them to be greedy like this and want more? Mrs. Hacktack smiled. I know how we can get anything we want, she said. She put their 10 coins into one purse, then threw it into the pot. She pulled out 2 purses with 10 coins in each. Now, how much? They started with 5 coins. They doubled it. Now they have 10 coins. But now they took all 10 coins, put it in one purse, and tossed it back into the pot. Now, how many coins are they going to have? I think they're going to have, like, if they were 5 first, it was 5 coins, turned to 10 coins. Now they have 10 coins. It's going to turn to 20 coins. Yay! More money for them. All right. What a clever wife I have, cried Mr. Hacktack. Each time we do this, we will have twice as much money as before. The Hacktacks worked late into the night, filling and emptying the pot until the floor was covered with coins. Ooh, he knew when his wife thought of that she was clever, smart, a great thinker. Do you agree with Mr. Hacktack that his wife is clever? And tell me why. What is your opinion about the wife right now? Is she clever or is she just lucky? Is she a hard worker? I don't know. Morning came and off went Mr. Hacktack with a long list of things to buy in the village. Instead of vegetables, his basket was full of gold coins. Mr. Hacktack finished all of her chores and sat down to enjoy a cup of tea. She sipped her tea and admired the brass pot. She sipped her tea and admired the brass pot. She's looking into the brass pot in the illustration. Is that safe for her to look? Look at how she's tippy-toeing into it. Then with a grateful heart, she knelt and embraced it. Dear pot, I do not know where you came from, but you are my best friend. She stooped over the pot to look inside. She's admiring. She's thankful. What in the world is happening in that? Why do I see 2 sets of legs? Uh-oh. At that very moment, Mr. Hacktack returned. His arms were so full of packages that he had to kick the door open. Bang! Mrs. Hacktack was so startled that she lost her balance and fell headfirst into the pot. Uh-oh. Now what's going to happen? Oh, I see. She went into the pot. Now there are 2 of each other. What's going to happen with Mr. Hacktack? Is he going to be able to handle both of his wives? Uh-oh. Mr. Hacktack ran over and grabbed his wife's legs. He pulled and tugged until she slid out onto the floor. But when he looked at the pot again, he gasped. 2 more legs were sticking straight out of it. Naturally, he took hold of the ankles and pulled. Out came a second person. She looked exactly like his wife. The new Mrs. Hacktack sat silently on the floor, looking lost. But the first Mrs. Hacktack cried, I am your one and only wife. Put that woman back into the pot right now. You can't put things back, because if he put her back in, what would happen again? There would now be not 1 Mrs. Hacktack, not 2 Mrs. Hacktack, but 3. It's triple the headache. No good for Mr. Hacktack. The new Mrs. Hacktack sat silently on the floor looking lost, but the first Mrs. Hacktack cried, I am your one and only wife. Put that woman back into the pot right now. Mr. Hacktack yelled, "No! If I put her back, we will not have two women, but three. One wife is enough for me." He backed away from his angry wife and tripped and fell headfirst into the pot himself. Now there are going to be two of the Haktaks. Maybe the original ones will be with each other and the copies will be with each other. That sounds like a pretty cool thing. What story details do you learn from the person telling the story? Which details do you learn from what Mr. Hacktack says? What's going on with the narrator? What are you learning about Mr. Hacktack? That he is what? He's happy with how many wives? Does he want many wives? Does he want many Hacktacks, or does he just want one? Is he happy with that one wife that he has? Both Mrs. Hacktacks rushed to rescue him. Each grasped an ankle, and together they pulled him out. There were two more legs in the pot, so they pulled out the other Mr. Hacktack too. Oh, wow, I guess their good fortunes are now turning into trouble. Just what use does one Mr. Hacktack have for another? Mr. Hacktack cried angrily. This pot is not as wonderful as we thought it to be. Now even our troubles are beginning to double. But his wife had been thinking while he was yelling. Remember, his wife is clever. His wife is patient. His wife is a thinker. What is she thinking about? He's angry, but she is thinking. She's not angry. She obviously has a plan. Calm down, she said. It is good that the other Mrs. Hacktack has her own Mr. Hacktack. Perhaps we will become best friends, best of friends. After all, we are so alike, he will be a brother to you, and she a sister to me. With our pot, we can make two of everything, so there will be plenty to go around. Two of everything? Now what are they going to do? Two of everything? How can they put their house in there? Because that's what they need. They need another house. And that is what they did. The Hacktacks built two fine new homes. How did they build it? I guess they must have taken one apart and just put in pieces of wood and multiplied it. Something happened. Each house had identical teapots, rice bowls, silk embroideries, and bamboo furniture. From the outside, the house looked exactly alike, but there was one difference. Hidden in one house was a big brass pot. Of course, the Hacktacks were always very careful not to fall into it again. I guess they kept it somewhere safe. That's a great story. Imagine having a magical pot like that. We wouldn't, well, actually, I think we would run into problems, just like those silly fuddy-duddies ran into some problems. They fell into it. What would happen if you had a magic pot? What would happen? Think about it. Would you be happy? The new Hacktacks and the old Hacktacks did become good friends. The neighbors thought that the Hacktacks had grown so rich that they decided to have two of everything, even themselves. The neighbors weren't happy with the Hacktacks, but the Hacktacks were very happy. Now they have everything they need. In the beginning, they didn't have everything they needed. They just depended on their farm and their veggies and garden. Now they don't need anything. Will they continue to farm? They should. It's only the right thing to do. What would you do if you had a brass pot? And everyone was just talking about them. Think about this. Think about the character, what happens in the story, and how to describe the actions that the character went. It'll help you understand to think about what the character does and says and how they respond to events in the story and how they feel. This can help you understand what they are like. For example, on page 490, Mr. Hacktack finds a pot and takes it home. This shows that he wants it to be used for something. Use this chart and help you analyze the characters. Characters may not think about the same event in the same way. One character may be upset about an event. Another character might be happy about the same event. The way that a character thinks about something is called his or her point of view. When you read a story aloud, think about each character's point of view. This will help you know what kind of voice to use when you read each character's words. Use a different voice as you read to show each character's point of view. Thank you for reading with me today. Hopefully you enjoyed this story of Two of Everything, and I hope that you look into reading the third part of the story. Stone Soup, which is another folk tale. It's an awesome folk tale about how a community comes together to make things happen, to make sure that everyone is fed. A whole community had to come together. Again, thank you for sharing. Hopefully that you enjoyed this part of the story, and hopefully you continue to enjoy all the stories that I have.